live from Soho, New York City. Welcome back, Wearable Electronics with Becky Stern.
Thanks. Welcome to the show. Today we talk about wearable electronics. It is it's October 8th or something like that, and it's fall outside.
That's right.
With me is Phil, Mr. Lady Ada himself. He's going to tell us what's on today's show.
On today's show, we got Wearable Wednesday.
We have a project. It's for Halloween and dogs.
Yeah. That also looks like the movie poster for some post-apocalyptic version of the future.
It's just what I dream about at night.
Component of the week.
Lasers.
Lasers.
In case you didn't tell that there was lasers in the previous thing. Tools we love is we're highlighting this mini breadboard today.
Yep. And questions and answers. You got questions. Becky has some answers.
If you have questions during this show, I would love to answer them on a future show. You can put them in the comments here on YouTube or on the blog or on Google Plus or Twitter or Instagram, and I will grab them and answer them on the show, and that will make you eligible to win a giveaway. So people who have asked questions before are in my hat, and they will be eligible to win this Flora later in today's show. So you ask a question, maybe you win a prize.
Okay, all that more on Wearable Electronics with Becky Stern. Okay, first up, gotta pay some bills. Code's Gemma.
If you'd like to buy some things in the Adafruit store in the Flora and Wearables category, you can get 10% off until 11:59 p.m. tonight, Eastern Time.
And some people might be saying, hey, why is the code Gemma? They've had Gemma for a while. There must be something new and interesting about Gemma that warrants having it as a code for discounts.
Foreshadowing. Dun, dun,
yeah,
dun.
so I guess we'll get to that shortly.
We'll get to it in just a minute. It's it's in our first little section.
Wearable Wednesday, you were in another country.
I went to Italy, Rome, for Open Hardware Summit last week. It was really fun. I ate a lot of really good Italian food, and I gave a talk about what's working in wearable electronics. And you can hit up the blog Wearables category to check out my slides. I put my slides up there with my notes and links to stuff. The talks were streamed on Italian TV. I don't know if they're gonna be available.
Someone
online.
had taken a screenshot of Adafruit stuff and you on TV.
Yes, we were on TV, but the YouTube, but I don't know if the Open Hardware Summit talks will be online later or not. But anyway, you can get my slides on the blog. Here's a picture of me talking about all the teardowns that we did. Okay,
if I were to ask you the one-sentence summary of what's working in wearables, what would you say? It's
cosplay, startups, textile, craftspeople, and families.
Okay, wow. We didn't even rehearse that. You just
yes,
on the fly.
And then designers, are fashion designers, is happening.
All right. Tomorrow, speaking of tomorrow, I'm going to be at Comic-Con. So
that's what you can take some vertical phone video.
I'm going to take vertical phone videos for the show. And I'm also going to be looking for people to gift our new audio sound effects board.
Ooh, that's really cool. Yeah. So if you see Phil and Lady Ada at Comic-Con tomorrow and you have a really cool cosplay, maybe they'll give you a soundboard?
Yeah, well there's people that use, there's all sorts of ways to do this, and they're usually expensive. Yeah. So there's like audio boards that people have kind of hacked together, and it's like $60 or so. Our sound effects board is $20 and it's drag and drop. Just put your own, and you can put your own files, any sounds you want on there. Yeah, and trigger them in any number of different ways, and then how you name the files determine how they play. Yeah. So that's really cool. It's a really easy way to add sound to your costume with no programming required. And you'll have a couple at Comic-Con tomorrow? I'll have 10 with me. Okay, cool. So do something special. Get Phil and Lady Ada to give you a soundboard at Comic-Con tomorrow. Okay. Exciting. Next up. Okay, so later at Open Hardware Summit, I was hanging out with Eric Pan from Seed Studios, and he made this cool apron with a flexible NeoPixel matrix on it, and he's using our code library. Oh, that's cool. Phil B's NeoMatrix library on his apron to display different things. And he's using the ZADAO Seed Studios Wearables platform. Seed is one of my favorite open hardware companies. They do really cool stuff. They are pushing it. Yeah. They are pushing it, and they have a lot of access to some new stuff. They're doing some, and they're in China. So they're doing this hardware innovation. Accelerator, incubator. They called it something else. Enabler, some kind of thing, where they can help you get your product manufactured. So we get asked that kind of question all the time. Hey, I have this cool board design. I want to make a bunch of them. Can you help me make it? And we don't do that kind of contracting here on our equipment, but Seed is starting to do this, and they have access to a lot of great parts that are directly in China.
and they're very nice guys also, very friendly.
They also do Kickstarter and Indiegogo and other types of crowd funding fulfillment. So super cool company. Check them out.
They're really nice and open hardware. Okay, so further in Rome, I met David Hunt, who's an Adafruit learning system author. He did a Pi photography intervalometer, and here he is wearing his Amplify.
Nice tie.
Yep.
That's cool to see some of the projects that you worked on walking around.
Yeah, and it's so funny. I'm wearing my NeoPixel hat, this hat, and as soon as I turn it on, like all of the NeoPixel people just like gravitate towards me. It's really cute. And so David Hunt's from Ireland, and then his friend. I don't remember his name, but I put him on. Robert. Yeah, Robert. I put a blog post up about his stuff today because he was exhibiting at Maker Faire Rome. He made his own NeoPixel, sewable NeoPixels, basically by solder, making his own little PCBs and soldering the WS2811s onto it. And he's also he was with David. They're both from Ireland. Very nice guys.
All right.
And then here is a nice lady who's modeling some Seed Studio wearables. See her nice green dress.
Yeah, that's cool.
There were folks exhibiting with Seed who had some cool wearable LED fascinators and this dress.
Okay.
Then in the SparkFun Flickr group or Flickr site for Maker Faire Rome, they posted up this picture of somebody wearing some Gemma hoop earrings. Yep, the tutorial for that's on the learning system too. That's on the blog also. And then I met this guy who was with the Seed Studio wearables folks wearing this OLED tie, machined aluminum and OLED tie. So do you remember that guy, the metalworker artist who made the cat armor?
Yeah.
That guy made this tie. I don't remember his name either.
He's the cat armor guy?
Not this guy. Oh. No, not the guy who's modeling this tie, but the guy who made this tie is the cat armor guy.
Yeah.
He wasn't there, but he's apparently friends with this guy. So I thought that was really cool. So lots of really fun stuff. People who like don't make it to the U.S. very often, you know, because it's expensive to fly out here. So it was really fun to meet lots of new people. In Italy who are from Italy or from all around Europe or Australia even.
Okay, and part of Open Hardware Summit and Maker Faire was a huge announcement for wearable electronics, perhaps one of the biggest.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, all right, so yay!
We're gonna have an Arduino Gemma.
Woo! Years in the making, years in the making. We've wanted to do an official Arduino for so long.
Yeah.
We started the talks about this back in January, and everything fell into place, and we are going to have the Arduino Gemma.
So that means that Gemma is going to be really easy to program using the Arduino IDE.
Yeah.
We're updating it to have a micro USB connector, so it's standard with the other Arduino boards.
Yeah.
We have switched to a smaller ATtiny85 chip, not smaller in memory, but smaller in size, different size package chip. To make it smaller to have room for an on-off switch. So the on-off switch, the micro USB connector, and the support for the Arduino IDE are your major improvements you're going to see. Otherwise, it's classic Gemma all day, all night. So any project that we have on the learning system right now for Gemma will still work just fine, except you'll have an on-off switch, which is cool.
Yeah.
Arduino, if you buy these, you'll be able to buy an Arduino Gemma from Arduino and an Arduino Gemma from. It's going to replace the regular Gemma, right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, we might do another version of the Gemma down the road, and if it's significantly different, then we'll try to have that as another official, like if we did a Gemma Pro or something like that, like who knows. And the really cool thing is all the work that we've done still works going forward.
Yeah.
So the big benefit is if you do workshops, if you're someone who has lots of things in the Arduino IDE, you don't need to make any settings changes. It'll eventually just be part of the Arduino experience.
Yeah, and we designed Gemma to be a beginner-friendly board, but the software modifications you've had to do up until now to the Arduino IDE to program Gemma are not that beginner-friendly. So while we've offered a ready-to-go download for the software, and you can also program Gemma on the CodeBender website, just in the browser, which is pretty easy, this is going to be an officially supported way to program your Gemma right off the Arduino site, like no confusion.
Yeah.
Right?
And the other thing about it is it's still Gemma, so keep in mind it's going to be lower cost. It doesn't have all the same things as, say, Flora. So you'll still want to probably prototype on something else and then when you put your Gemma in something, then it's done. And what's cool is what we've seen is Gemma's been outselling Flora for a while because you can just put in anything. It doesn't matter. It's not like here's this like full-featured
precious $25. Yeah, so it's cheaper. It's so cheap you can leave it in your projects. But and it's got a few quirks about being so small. Like it doesn't. The program has to be small. You can't do very complicated digital sensing, but it can control a whole lot of neopixels and do simple sensing and sounds and all kinds of fun stuff.
And as a double bonus, Mike Barella's book, Getting Started with Trinket, is out, and Trinket and Gemma are siblings.
And so they're so similar.
And so all the things that you get with Trinket, Gemma it could be called Getting Started with Gemma.
Yeah, they're just a different shape. They're exactly the same thing, but a different shape.
Yeah.
So
it's very cool.
Very cool. We're very excited about this announcement. Zoe and Massimo and a couple other folks on the Arduino team worked really hard on this, and so we're
big shout out to Zoe and Massimo for not giving up on this one.
Yeah, it's really good. We're really excited. So look forward to that. Soon we'll be shipping the Arduino Gemmas.
Other big news. This is on stands right now.
This is Lady Ada in this month's Glamour magazine.
Yeah, I picked this up last night.
Glamour magazine. Here she is.
Yeah.
We could put it on the overhead.
Yeah.
So Lady Ada was photographed for this 35 under 35 top women in technology. Beautiful 40s glamour style photo we've got going on here with the soldering iron, like the cigarette holder.
Yeah, online has the full version. We also have the full photo on our site. And other folks that people might know from the hardware world, Aya is in there.
Yep.
And so it was really neat. This is one of the first times I think a magazine has had like 2 open hardware pioneers.
It's kind of nuts.
Yeah.
And like lots of other interesting women in tech too.
Yeah, so I think Glamour is going to pretty much just be an electronics magazine soon.
Cool. That's cool with me. Anyway, I'm excited about this.
Okay, so that's on stands right now. November issue, folks.
You can go pick it up. You can also read the article online. It's a link on the site.
Also, the first time that I think a Samsung SM41 has been in Glamour.
I'm going to agree with you on there. That it's got to be the first. I would argue a first time a soldering iron's been in Glamour magazine too. I
emailed Samsung and they're like, this is great. So next up.
Okay, this is this week's project. As I promised before I left for Rome, I promised you some cool Halloween costume projects, and we're about to deliver. So the first project we're going to release in our Halloween, well, it's not the first, for my Halloween costume, because we have 2 projects for my Halloween costume, is the laser dog goggles. Thanks to my dog for modeling. We can just watch the video.
Okay. I think this speaks for itself.
It's always fun to get your pets involved in Halloween, so today we're building a pair of costume laser dog goggles for my pit bull, Olive. For this project, you'll need a laser diode, micro servo motor, Gemma or Trinket microcontroller, switch, and battery. Wire up the circuit by following the tutorial on the Adafruit learning system. The link is in the description. Test that everything works before mounting it onto your goggles. So here's where we talk about safety and common sense. I used hot glue to attach the components to the dog goggles at first because this thing makes noise and it's near Olive's ears. There's a non-zero chance that your dog will not tolerate the sound of the wiggling motor. You can try slowing it down, or just hook the laser up to a switch and battery directly. Of course, your pet's costume should only be worn while supervised, and the battery should be on the outside of the goggles, not in contact with your pet's face. These lasers are relatively safe, but you shouldn't shine them in anyone's eyes for more than a few seconds, so you should keep that in mind in case you want to make these goggles for yourself instead of your canine companion. Now we're ready for the NYC Halloween Parade. She could be RoboCop or Terminator. Or to go with my Cyber Tank Girl costume, I'm passing her off as my kangaroo boyfriend. How are you dressing up your pets for Halloween this year? Let us know in the comments or on our weekly show and tell hangout on Google+. Check out our Halloween playlist for some more electronic costumes you could build this year, and subscribe for more wearables from Adafruit.
What's cool about New York is there like 5 people walking around that day with like dogs with lasers.
Pretty much.
So it was like, oh yeah, another dog with lasers.
Yeah, and well, what I thought was funny is that I was dressed up really funny, but the dog was getting all the attention from the passersby.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, this is cool. You want to go to the overhead? I can show you more about this project. So the motor and the laser are just glued onto the side of these standard issue Doggles brand goggles. So they're designed for a dog already to wear, and they have like you know, they're safe for a dog to wear.
Special dog goggles.
Yeah, there's special dog goggles that we just put on the outside. So if you read the guide in the Adafruit Learning System for this project, it's really easy project. It's just a trinket and a battery and a motor and a laser. Yeah. But there's some safety things about putting lasers on your pets. Like, yes, you can make these goggles for you, but then they might, if you're tall even, they might hurt someone in the eyeballs, even though you have to shine this laser in your eyes for like 40 seconds to cause any actual damage. But also, like, I had to train my dog not only to wear the thing with the motor on it, but just wear the goggles in general. Like, she doesn't like the goggles in general. So one time I put hearing protection on the, there's treats. So I put hearing protection on her one time for a loud thing, and she like knocked them off and then looked at me like, oh, put them back on, because I'm realizing that it's loud. Yeah. The goggles, if we weren't doing we're not doing some kind of outdoor sport, which is what they're designed for, like motorcycling or surfing and stuff, and then they have like a sunglasses that comes in them that protects your dog's eyes from UV, the same as if you spend all day out on the water, you need to wear sunglasses. But she didn't really see the benefit of wearing them. They weren't like giving her anything. We were just wearing them around town. Yeah. So lots of treats and like slow increments of like, wear them for 5 minutes, now wear them for 10 minutes, now wear them for 15 minutes. Yeah. So if you see in the last shot, she's really trying to get them off of her face. And it's because we've been shooting for like lots of time, and she'd been wearing them and being a really good sport about it. But she didn't really seem to care the difference between when they're just the goggles and when they were the goggles with the laser. She doesn't notice the difference. So it's a really fun project. You should carry some treats with you if you want to train your dog to wear it, but it is really easy to make. This is a GIF of how fast not to make it go, because then the motor does make a lot of noise, and then your dog's not going to like that. But anyway, I hope you like this. If you want to learn more about the rest of my Tank Girl costume, there'll be another video about the laser. The light bandolier next week. Okay. Next up. The laser now is pointing at us, so it's just gonna...
If you want to buy some of this stuff to outfit your dog with a laser, you can use the code GEMMA, 10% off all the way up to 11:59 p.m.
I think the joke is that her gaze is really intense, right? Like the dog looks at everything like it's a squirrel. Yeah. So the laser like makes her gaze even more intense.
Well, if the dog's like kind of staring at you and then the laser beam finds you, you're like, well, what's going to happen next?
Exactly. So, I mean, and it's funny because she's really friendly and nice, so.
All right, component of the week.
Okay, speaking of lasers, the component of the week is the laser. Yeah. And this is just the simple dot laser that you can see moving on me right now. It just makes a dot. But you can easily substitute it for our line laser that makes a line, or a cross laser that makes a cross. We also have a TTL serial laser that you could like make beep, like blink on and off. Maybe with the software serial or a more powerful microcontroller, you could try that out as an upgrade to this project. But this is a pretty inexpensive project to make, and if you make it with the thing is, I recommend using the E6000 adhesive, because if the dog will knock the goggles off at some point or scrape it against a wall, and like you don't want the circuit to shear off. But if you want to use these goggles as regular goggles after Halloween, you could maybe change up the way it's attached. Maybe a Velcro, maybe, I don't know, something that you can remove later so you can use, because the doggles are perfectly good for eye protection for motorcycling and other dog sports.
With your remaining eye, type in the code GEMMA.
Remember, 40 seconds. These lasers are pretty okay.
That's fine. Okay, tools you love.
Tool we loved to make this project is this tiny breadboard. So you know what, like a half-size breadboard has the power rails on the sides. This one doesn't. It's tiny. It just has the little connections on either side. It's perfect for prototyping with trinkets. You can plop a little trinket in the middle, and then you can prototype your circuit, and then you can solder it up straight from there.
Use one here. Return of the GIF.
Return of the GIF. Yeah. I like how Noe and Pedro have been adopting Mike Rignetta's pronunciation as jife.
That's fine.
Just because it's not either of the controversial. I don't know.
Animated graphic.
Yeah.
I guess we could.
CompuServe never knew what they were making, so that's why they don't get to have it called GIF.
All right, so the code is still GEMMA for those things.
So you can get a trinket and a laser and a servo motor and get 10% off.
Okay, so it's that time.
Is it question time?
It's question and answer time.
Okay, great.
All right, the prize is?
A Flora.
That's right. Okay.
It's a good prize.
Yeah.
You're going to like it. You can make a lot of projects with Flora.
I'll say this. When we make the first Arduino GEMMAs, we'll save one just for a prize.
Yeah, of course.
Just for, no, but it'll be like one of the first ones.
Yeah.
Like hot off the press.
Sure. I have the first Gemma prototype, or one of them. It's got like a funny little wire, like because there's a mistake on the PCB.
That's cool.
Yeah, it didn't make sense to give you a regular Gemma when Arduino Gemma is coming out soon.
Yeah.
Might as well just give you a Flora.
Yeah, no, that's a special thing that we'll do later. Okay. Yeah. All right, the first question is, I want to make a Tron costume with EL lights, and I don't know how to do it, but it sounds like it might be easy enough for me to do. The only problem is I want to use EL panels, and another video I watched that said it shocked me if I don't insulate it right.
That's true, but no pain, no wearable electronics gain. So the shock from EL panel is it's not very painful. And so like I made this video about electroluminescent materials that goes over how to solder to EL wire, but don't be afraid of it. Like the EL panel, you're right that it is really easy to make your own Tron costume with EL panel and EL tape. Yeah. Just make sure you like get the right inverters for the amount of EL that you're trying to drive. And then if you want to seal the edges, you could use like clear nail polish, or packing tape works great. And just insulate it from your body. The only way I got shocked with EL panel is like touching the edge while it's on the cut edge, and then. But if it's on top of fabric or something, it probably won't. You have
to try really hard to get shocked with EL.
Yeah, and it doesn't like continue to shock you like an electrical outlet. It doesn't. It's just a tiny little zap, and it's really low amperage. So I mean, like, didn't you guys stick 9-volt batteries on your tongues as a kid? Like it hurts way less than that.
Yeah.
So try it. Don't be afraid. It's a good beginner
next
material.
Wearable question. Is there a way to make Flora Gemma Bluetooth? I'm planning on making something similar to the Iron Man arc reactor. I'm wondering if it's possible to do so. If not, could I use a per trinket and Bluetooth LED to control 3 NeoPixel rings? Thanks. But wait, there's more. Also, what is the most affordable LiPoly battery that has pretty good charge span?
I think he means for his components, which would be a Bluetooth module, a microcontroller, and some NeoPixel rings.
Yeah.
So the answer is yes to Flora, no to Gemma. So you need something capable of serial communication. So Flora would be great. Arduino Micro would be great. Pro Trinket would also work because it's the Atmega 328, right?
328.
And so for an example project, you can look at the Guggen hat. That's Phil B's tutorial for the LED scrolling top hat that you send the scrolling message from your phone over Bluetooth Low Energy. And then for a battery, if you want to run the Bluetooth, a Flora, or like an Arduino Micro, a couple NeoPixel rings, and the Bluetooth module, did I mention that already? You might want to use the 1300 milliamp hour LiPoly is a good one to go with. They're all pretty reasonably priced, our LiPolys, but if you want that circuit to last like 4 or 5 hours, I'd say at least like not the 500, but the next size up. Like I think it's 1300 milliamp hours.
All right.
Yeah.
Moving right along here. Hey, Becky, love the show. I was wondering a bit about the usage of silicone-coated wire in wearable projects. When will you advise using it instead of conductive thread? Do you think it's a decent alternative creating wearables with stretchy fabric such as standard t-shirts? Can you conceal it elegantly?
Silicone-coated wire is great because it is insulated, unlike conductive thread. So if you need to get from one place to another and it's on a piece of fabric that folds on top of itself, for instance, is very like gathered, you don't have to worry about it shorting out against itself and like multiple traces. So it's great for that. It comes in lots of different colors, whereas the conductive thread only comes in gray. So if you're working on a light colored object, we do have gray and white silicone-coated wire. It can handle a lot more amperage. In general, it is just overall better. If you can use silicone-coated wire instead of conductive thread, do it. For stretchy things, neither option is optimal for stretchy things. So conductive thread obviously doesn't stretch, but neither does the silicone-coated wire. You can like twirl it into little loops to provide like a little bit of extra strain relief. And then I usually tack it down to fabric with like a whip stitch or like a hem stitch that barely catches the fabric and loops around the wire on the inside of the garment. For really tight things, obviously you're going to see that bulge of a wire, so conductive thread lays a little bit flatter. But neither of them are, so you said the way you like phrased your question sort of like implied that one is already good for stretchy, which is not so. Neither of them are good for stretchy things, and I do not recommend putting wearable electronics projects in t-shirts. We have seen the Twerkle shirt from Cute Circuit that uses a flex PCB material. inside of a t-shirt that's been stiffened to make it not stretchy. The front of that shirt is not stretchy because it's been stiffened with like another substrate material that's ironed onto it. So really anything that is putting a circuit in a stretchy thing is a hack. If you look at our Cortana costume, I sewed conductor thread into like a Spanx underwear garment that's very stretchy, but I had to do it on a body form and like leave a little bit of slack, and then it still has to go underneath something else. So silicone coated wire is my favorite. Use it whenever possible instead of conductive thread, unless you're Sally Byers and you know how to sew really well.
Okay.
It's really a lot easier to get started with, for sure.
Next up. Hey, I'm playing on a Tron-looking crossover with steampunk for Halloween. Do you have any suggestions for first-time light materials? Yeah,
you and our first question asker can both go use our EL wire, tape, and panel. And we have like just watch this video. Here's the title. You can just look it up on YouTube. We have lots of cool colors, lots of cool shapes of tape and panel, which you can cut. And then the flowing effect EL wire is really fun. It's very easy to use, no programming. All you need to do is make sure you have the right inverter for the quantity of EL you're using, and it lights up easy peasy.
Okay. Next up, in my country, I can't buy the big pack of Flora NeoPixel, so I was wondering if I can use the big pack of the Breakout NeoPixel with the same conductor thread setup. Basically, can I use the thread for connections that doesn't have the big surface as the Flora parts?
Two-part answer. I have a part of an answer, and Phil has a part of an answer.
Part of an answer.
My part of the answer is yes. You can certainly sew conductive thread to the normal-sized pads on these NeoPixel breakout boards. It's just like the hole is a little smaller, so you have to not use a giant needle, and you have to be a little more careful to make sure the threads don't touch each other because the holes are close together. However,
yeah, and depending on where you are, and that's pretty much most likely planet Earth, go to adafruit.com/distributors. And look where the closest distributor is. And we have someone who's very close to most places. Internationally, we have 1,000 resellers. So go through them because they'll do a special order, and it's much easier for them to get you the things than maybe us getting it to you. Depending on what location, there might be some geography things. Russia right now, we can't ship to. There's issues. Nobody is, like the UPS has a advisory. There's all sorts of things that you have to get, like a copy of a passport.
Right.
It's really intense. And so what we suggest is, that's US to Russia. Get a reseller in the area who's buying stuff and buy it directly.
Yeah, so if you say that you can get these NeoPixels, then whoever you can get these NeoPixels from probably buys them from us and can put in a special order for some Flora pixels for you. But you can also, like Robert from Ireland did, you can take our PCB design files from the Flora NeoPixels and etch your own if you'd like. They're pretty simple now that the resistors and capacitors are built into the chip now. Yeah. So like it's an easier design on one side. So it's a pretty easy circuit board to get printed yourself if you have that kind of access. But the answer to your question is yes, you can use conductor thread with these pixels. It's just be extra careful.
Okay.
Totally fine.
Giveaway time.
Oh, okay. So inside the drone's hat, I have to turn the drone's hat on or the giveaway doesn't work properly. That's what I learned. There's a cool new graphic on the homepage of the site featuring this hat today. Okay, the winner of the Flora is, by random selection, dun, 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 Rosalel, who asked about making EL costumes, but is worried about getting shocked by the EL panel.
Okay, you can get all sorts of...
You can make direct current circuits with Flora that would never dream of shocking you ever.
Yeah, it's totally okay. You're not going to get shocked with this.
Congratulations, you...
Flora will not hurt your feelings either.
No, it won't. EL might hurt your feelings a little because it makes this noise next to your head. Anyway, you can email support@adafruit.com to claim your prize. I'll also send you a message on YouTube. Congratulations. Okay. If you have a question, ask it now or sometime over the next week in the comments here or on Google Plus or Twitter. And I will grab it for the show, for the blog, wherever. Put your comment wherever, and then we'll grab it for future show. Thanks so much for people who ask questions.
If you didn't win, but you're like, man, I'd really want some of that stuff, you can use code Gemma, 10% off.
Wednesday is a good day to shop in the Adafruit store.
Yeah, it's a good day.
Because stuff is 10% off.
And speaking of Wednesdays.
Yeah, there's other stuff that happens on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Maybe you haven't had enough of us, and you have your own project you want to share with us. You can show up at 7:30 tonight for the Google Plus show and tell. Just leave a comment now on the Google Plus post that says, hey, I want to show a project, and if you're not already in the circle, we'll add you to the circle. Then you'll always be invited to show and tell at 7:30 Eastern time on Wednesday nights, and you can show up or not show up and show off your cool wearable electronics project.
Yep.
I mean, or any type of electronics project.
And that's up next up after that at 8 p.m. Ask an Engineer
with Lady Ada and Mr. Lady Ada.
Yep.
And they will answer questions about not just wearable electronics, but other things as well.
And we also have...
And then tomorrow, tune in for our 3D Hangout show with Matt Griffin, Noah, and Pedro Ruiz at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, where they show off a cool 3D printing project. Sometimes it's also wearable.
That's right.
And talk about 3D printing news and all kinds of fun stuff.
The most exciting 30 minutes in 3D printing
each week.
You'll get all week.
Yep, for sure.
Okay.
Thanks so much for watching our show. Next week, we'll have more awesome Halloween stuff. So if you're not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, now would be a good time to do that. It'll just make sure that you get to see stuff first. And we'll be back next week.
Yep.
Same time, same bat channel with more wearable electronics.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Bye.